Good morning. It's Julie Withrow, and it's Straight Talk Tuesday. And today I'm going to do something a little different, and I'm going to talk about a book that I just read that I'm really hot on right now. So it's like a book report. I'll kind of give you my cliff notes on this book. I do not have the physical book. I read books, but I also love to listen to books on Audible. I like to listen, particularly when I'm running on my treadmill. It kind of helps me, I'm kind of a kinesthetic learner. I think I've said that before. So running while listening really works for me. So anyway, this book, I can't show you it because I don't have the physical book. And for you visual people, actually, I'll call it up on my Audible so you can at least see the cover of it, and that way you'll recognize it. But it's called Build a Storybrand. Oops. There. That's what the cover of the book, I believe, looks like, and this is what it looks like on Audible. So it's called Building a Storybrand. Sorry, my bad. The author, as you can see, is Donald Miller. His name's up there at the top. And, have you ever read, maybe this is going to sound so geeky now that I say it out loud, but I was going to say, have you ever read a business book that you wish you had written? That's kind of how I feel about building a story brand. It's a book that, takes some marketing concepts that are very tried and true, nothing really revolutionary here. Like a lot of books, it's just repeating really good information, but it's doing it in a way that maybe you've never thought of before, and in a way that's super easy to process and put into action, which to me is kind of the mark of a really awesome business book. It doesn't have to be like some amazingly new concept. It just has to deliver the information in a way that makes it really actionable and accessible for the reader. And that's how I feel about building a story brand. So you do not have to be like some master marketer to read this book. On the contrary, it's really easy for a small business owner to put these concepts into action. And it's just as easy, although it's a little bit harder to get buy-in because you have other people involved. It's just as easy for a marketing professional to use these very same concepts in a bigger company setting as well. And I kind of wish that this book would have been out back when I was in corporate, because it could have helped me position things in a way that would have helped me, really effectively explain what it was I wanted to do in our company back at the time. But the premise of building a story brand simply is that the companies or brands, right, or products, however you think about things, we tend to use the word brand a lot in marketing, but the companies that clearly communicate are the ones that will win. And I believe I think the subhead on the cover actually says, clarify your message so customers will listen. And that's really the premise of the book is, how can you say what it is that you do so simply, right, so succinctly, that it's very obvious to your customers what it is that you do, and even more so very obvious to your ideal customer what it is that you do. And he talks about, it's called Building a Story Brand, because he talks about how you can build your brand from the context of looking at it like writing a story. And it's a kind of a genius, simple but genius concept, because a lot of times we also talk about storytelling in marketing, and this really takes that kind of to the next level. So the idea is that as a marketer and as a business owner, we are all marketers, okay? That as a marketer, you are kind of taking your customer on a story journey, and they are the hero of the story and you are their guide. And I really love that concept because that's so important. So many big businesses do this part wrong, and then because they're sort of the role models, I see a lot of small businesses do this part wrong too. And what they do wrong is they make themselves the hero. And the way they do that is it's, I do this, I do that, we do this, we do that, we're this, we use this process, we have this many years experience, we have this amazing manufacturing facility. this many employees, whatever that is, right? They're talking about it from the we or I perspective. But then that makes you the star of the story. And the truth is, you have to make your customers or your clients the star of the story that you're telling, and make it about them. So instead of using I and we language, use you language, talk about their problems, talk about what they're experiencing, and then you put in how you address that. But quickly always turning it back to the customer and talking about things in you language. And a really good example of this is that, and I think he may even mention this, on websites, you see a lot of companies and individuals, companies big and small, kind of what I call barfing all this information about themselves, feeling a need to justify who you are as a business and why customers need you. But you really, and all that is kind of reality, right? But when you're actually presenting the information, you want to turn it around and talk about it from your customer's perspective. What are they looking for? What is their pain point? What is the challenge that they have? What is their problem that you can help them solve? And talk about, just really getting clear about what that problem is, so that they connect to it and say, yeah, I totally have that problem. Because now they're engaged, and now they because they connect to it and they can relate to it, now they're more interested in hearing what you have to say, right? But we tend to start off with we and I, and we justify why it is that we exist. So that's the general premise of the book, is really about how do you talk about your business, your products, your brands from your customer's perspective, and really help them feel like they are the hero of your story, and you are just the guide helping them through the problem to a successful outcome. And on your about page, for example, on your website, is a great opportunity to do more of this than maybe you're doing today. I mean, certainly a lot of big companies really don't do this well. There's so much talking about themselves, but the truth is, even the about page isn't about you and your business. It's about your customer and whatever their current reality is. So that's how you hook people in a noisy world filled with all kinds of competitive, messages and things, that you're always having to try to stand out from. Is you want to be the one who best communicates to your customer, your client's problem, right? And it isn't even, this is sort of the irony that he talks about in the book, is, oftentimes the companies that really succeed aren't even the best companies or the best products. They're simply the companies or the products that communicate clearly and simply what problem it is that they solve. And that's always kind of our challenge as marketers, is how can we distill it down so simply that a customer, can't help but know that, we are the best company for them, because we've said it so clearly what it is that we do that they can completely relate to it. And in the book, he talks about this early on, that customers need that kind of clarity, because the truth is, nobody wants to think that hard. Nobody wants to decipher what it is that you do. I mean, nobody's going to take the time to do that. The truth of the matter is, until you really connect with your prospect, they don't care. They don't care about you. They don't care about your company. They care about themselves, right? They care about the problem that they have. They care about the challenge that's keeping them up at night. That's what matters to them. And your role is to identify that and to state it so clearly that they see themselves in it, and then become the guide for them that helps them solve that problem. So I think it's, like I said, it's the book about marketing and business that I kind of wish I would have written. It's kind of like when you read a great novel and you're like, oh man, like I wish I would have written that story because I love it so much. Well, it's how I feel about this book. It's called Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller. I am in no way an affiliate for this book. It's just a business book that I really want to share with you. It's a great book to listen to on Audible if you're so inclined. I like the author's voice. I like the way he presents information. He's not the most animated or charismatic guy, but he gets the information across in a pleasant way. And it was recommended to me, the book, by my friend, Dr. Carrie Petzinger. And she actually read the physical book, and she had great things to say about that too. I could see the advantage if you're kind of on the fence about Audible or buying a book. I know that there are some very specific exercises in there, and it may be helpful to have those visuals. But should you choose to go Audible, I believe you can get them off the website anyway at storybrand.com. So that is today's Straight Talk Tuesday, a little bit different, doing a book report on building a story brand. And it's by Donald Miller. And I really highly recommend it. You know, if I believe we can all get tighter and clearer on our marketing message. There are very few companies that really have that nailed. And it's really an iterative process, right? It's something you're kind of shaping and evolving and refining over time. So as you go into the new year and you're doing your planning, you know, I really encourage you to spend a little bit of time to make sure that your marketing is really tight and buttoned up, right? Make sure that you're really hitting the mark. And that may mean a reevaluation of who your ideal client is. It may mean a recommitment to really understanding your market. And if you don't yet, asking them more questions, you know, doing that research to make sure that you do. And he also, in this book, you know, gives you a very kind of quick way to audit your website, which is great if you have one, or if you're even just still starting to think about creating one. This would be a great place to start, is with this book, to make sure that you really get your first website as good as it can be. So that's all for today. Thanks for being a listener. And I hope to be back next Tuesday in full force with a full voice. Have a great week and enjoy the holiday season.